we want to jump right into a special guest we have that I've personally very excited to have on the show. Yeah. And our friend BoredGamer is in the UK, in England.
There he is.
Hello from the UK.
hello.
Dude, okay, so here's the thing, Brian. I jumped in on the show because I watch this guy on YouTube way too much. Like, I'll be going to bed at night and watching these things he posts, and my wife's like, come on. I mean, she likes him, but I listen.
Whatever works for you guys, whatever works for you.
You were BoredGamer before you were really focused on Star Citizen, is that correct?
No, I was actually, my gaming nickname was Monkey, and words involving monkey, like Uber Monkey and Monkey and just Monkey. Yeah, but then BoredGamer ever since the YouTubes. Well, I actually get very bored with games very quickly. I play them very focused for a good few hours, like maybe like 50 in a week, like solidly, like a job. And then burn myself out on them and then move on to the next game. And I do get bored very quickly and easily at most games. And I kind of experimented with games like Diablo 3 and heavily loot-based games where there's lots of variation for that sort of stuff, and they keep me interested for a reasonable amount of time. Yeah, BoredGamer was, I liked the idea, I liked the kind of branding that would provide, and I also wanted to do board games, and I probably will eventually on my channel as well.
Well, I'm glad Jake's going to join us, because Jake is the guy who introduced me to Star Citizen. I guess it was Christmas of 2014.
Yeah, I heard all the talk about esports Diablo 3, and I was thinking to myself, I should probably go over and at least translate a little bit. So
now, this is decidedly not a gaming show.
Oh yeah,
but we talk about it. But a lot of people watching this don't know the first thing about your entire life when it comes to gaming. So Brian,
yes,
tell this guy what you've been learning about the Star Citizen.
Definitely.
And because we've thrown him in. I didn't really give him a choice.
Yeah,
I'm like, this is what we're doing. We're into this game, and I need your help. And he's been learning more about it. So you've been learning the lore, right?
I've been learning the lore, and it's ever expanding, seemingly, from what I could tell. And there's some great charts and graphs, because for me, it's harnessing the creative element in me to bring to life, in a way, what's going on in the game in a format that maybe no one would have thought of. I try and write original music based on Star Citizen.
Yeah.
So we've had two songs to release, soon to be 3 and 4 actually.
Yeah.
About that, and they all have. It's based on inspiration from the game. So as a songwriter, it was the first time that I've actually had to write songs not from experience,
but instead from
a
prompt.
Less existential kind of a. It's like, okay, so I actually have to, a songwriter, you don't want to tell a songwriter, now go study this and write a song. What? It just needs to be emotive. It just needs to be inside of me. So, but fortunately for me, I guess I love stories, and there's so many great storylines built into some of the campaigns that for me, I pick out, the characters, if I can, and people and places.
You're talking the war campaigns that are written into the lore.
And written into the lore, especially like one chart that I pulled up, because I didn't know the names of planets. I was looking for a rhyme. I was trying to rhyme a line of a song. I'm going, it really needs to be, I know I need to talk about he's going here, and it needs to rhyme with this other thing. And so I need a planet or a system. And then I went, wait a minute, and as I get 3 hours later.
What's that? Just make one up. No one know what it is.
I know. Well, now I know. I'm just gonna contact you next time and go, hey, what rhymes with what planet rhymes? So, but as I'm digging, 3 hours later, I realized, well, I can't just name a planet. I've got to make sure there's a jump point there.
I cannot wait to hear stories of people going out and doing things. And there are already people writing stories about what they're going to do once the game starts. People are getting really excited about it. And
I think a lot of people are in love with the fantasy of Star Citizen. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, as long as they've curbed their enthusiasm a little bit.
Yeah, a lot of exactly.
Had this thing with No Man's Sky where they just assumed it was going to be the 100% best game ever. And it wasn't even advertised as that. And we in the community or with people with any game, we get occasionally a little bit ahead of ourselves, like we're going to have to do this and this and this, and it's going to be the most amazing thing ever, and it's going to be super fun and everything. And it probably will be amazing and super fun. But some people are in love with that fantasy idea of it. And that's great for videos and us talking about it now and getting some of those fantasies in games. They're still building it. But it's like people need to curb their enthusiasm with certain things. Like
definitely.
Just be aware that it's not the answer to all games, although it probably is going to be an amazing game.
Yeah, it's definitely what I try and get excited about is if they meet their minimum goal, if they accomplish just the minimum of what they're setting out to do, it looks like it could be quite fun, quite enjoyable, something that we could play for a long time. So. And I think you're right, because there are a lot of people who are like, well, what about if we did this? And then it's like, well, we're just going to get the game done first, just the first part.
That was my first encounter. My first encounter with the community, being completely clueless as to how these kind of communities work, is that I saw the potential of the game. And I posted some stuff out there that I thought it was art related, it was creative related, but it was not the core of the game. And at that time, in early 2015, all the stuff that we kind of take for granted now in the game had not been developed yet. And so what I was talking about was way too early and distracting. And that was one of the things, is like, hey, let's just get this basic stuff in place before we start talking about that.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of cool things that I think technologically are going to be possible. Where are you? And do you do Star Citizen full time and you pay your bills with that?
Yeah, so I'm a full-time content creator from YouTube, streaming, Patreon, all that sort of stuff. And I also care for my brother. My brother's disabled and requires a modicum of help for quality of life stuff.
Right.
So the job that I'm doing at the moment with Star Citizen and YouTube and stuff is just fantastic for me, because I can work videos and streaming and stuff around everything else. Yeah. Which is just perfect for me.
I have a question for him, though. I'm sorry. This is kind of selfish on my part. I want some insight, and I'm going to put you on the spot because it's easy to think that you may not be able to answer this. But the last video we produced was just fun. It was a dancing video. The guys are out there on the platform dancing to a tune, and it's called Space Fleas. And in the middle of it, he makes a reference to, it made my face turn blue, and now I'm seeing space whales too. Yeah. And in the back, in space, very lightly, there's a whale behind the platform, breaching. It's very subtle, and I think it came off really, really well. But nobody seemed to notice it. None of the comments.
Hold on. I didn't notice it.
Ooh.
I gotta what? Are you kidding?
We should start a thing now.
Did you superimpose something?
Are you kidding me? That's the best joke in the whole thing.
Subtlety. There's nothing. When you do something, you can't really be too subtle about it.
I don't read everything, but ever so often I get the feeling that there's some people in the community that are aggressively against the people making jokes about space whales being in the game. Is that true? Nobody cares? I mean, have you experienced...
Okay, so there is terminology that's used on Reddit and forums which can relate to trolling and trolls as well. Right. So there's lots of stuff going on. And now if you're just you're not super deep into the community and you make a joke, someone might find it offensive because they think you're referring to something else entirely.
Okay.
That's all it is. So space whales can relate to someone that has put a lot of money into the game and is used commonly as a...
I didn't even think of that.
It's just used commonly in trolling. And lots of people that will go on Reddit or go on the forums will mention something and someone else will just assume they're trolling, and then it becomes a bit aggressive. Well, not aggressive, but a bit sort of like...
I never even thought about that. That's super interesting.
Yeah, internet communities are interesting. There's an entire... You really do have to learn quite a bit about certain internet communities to kind of get a grasp on the way that certain people react to things, because...
Reddit especially has its own etiquette.
Oh, yes. I did not see... I'm not kidding. I did not see the whale. It is. I see it. I see it now.
So it's like my favorite part of that whole video.
And I didn't even see it.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, it's real subtle.
Got to be more obvious.
That's one of the reasons why writing space whales into the song we have that ability to do that because we're creating something where it's obviously silly to start with. No one's going to misinterpret that as, oh, they're messing up canon. It's like, it's a freaking joke.
If you said it now, though, if you said that like literally within the last 3 days, you would get a lot of upvotes and people would be very with you, because Jeremiah Lee, one of the concept artists, was talking about space whales.
Yeah.
And they had a live stream where they were trying to concept a new creature. And he was like, I want it to be space whales. So loads of people were talking about them, and it's become something else. And it's when you just are dipping in and out, especially when you're with these hardcore communities, which kind of assimilate all the information constantly and are always up to date. When you dip in and they say something, can be taken the wrong way. And that's the problem with internet communities in general, though, that some people aren't moderate about what they're thinking. They always think the worst, or can think the worst. Not everyone's like that at all, but you'll get vocal people that are like that as well.
They tend to be more vocal when they think the worst. So, I mean, the thing is that in our particular case, I'd love to hear what they're thinking, because in my space whale case, it's a real whale. there's no design to it. It's just like what you see coming out of the water. But no, I have to figure that out.
With those kind of communities as well, a lot of people are totally anonymous because they're just basically a name on a screen. But YouTubers and content creators and streamers and stuff, people know them, so they can make jokes much more freely without it being sort of like, oh my god, this guy's a racist or a troll or something like that. Because people know their personality and they know the sort of context that it's said in, the tone that it's said in.
Yeah.
Whereas if you say anything online, people don't know how to judge that tone and will, not always, but 90% of the time, assume the worst.
I think you're right. I'm pretty sure you're right.